following is a presentation of WLCN 96.3 FM and WLCNonline.com. This live video stream is made possible in part by WLCN's live stream technology sponsor, Me Realty, located at 602 Keokuk Street in Lincoln, and online at merealty.com. Good afternoon. It is 4:02 p.m., time for the 4 p.m. 411 here on WLCN 96.3 FM. You can listen live on the radio, of course. You can also view our live stream on YouTube. Just simply go to WLCNonline.com, click on the badge on the home page that says Watch Live, and should have an interesting half hour for you today. We have Lincoln Police Chief Joe Meister with us today, and if you've been following the local media, you know that, pretty much any media, social media, traditional media, crime and safety and all those types of issues that are in Chief Meister's wheelhouse seem to be at the forefront of a lot of people's minds. So if you have questions or comments, 217-648-5510, the number to call. Once again, this is a show designed to be sort of educational and pass along information. So if you're going to call and complain about this or that of something you think should have been done with a police incident perhaps you had or know of or heard of, then don't bother calling. We're trying to promote things here in a positive manner. So Chief Meister, first of all, thank you for joining us. And I believe I did some research, believe it or not, for this show, and I believe it was September 18th was the 1-year anniversary of the Safety Act, and I tried to do some reading and some research, and what I found was there's not really a whole lot out there. Most of the few articles I saw said, yeah, in Cook County maybe things are not as bottlenecked as they used to be, but I think one quote I said that I saw said if you go to the 102 different counties in Illinois, you'll probably get 102 different answers of how the system has been impacted. So from your standpoint, how have things gone since the implementation of the Safety Act?
It's been a wild year, Loyd. Thanks for having me again.
Sure.
Obviously, we had a lot of getting used to do with the change in the legislation. Locally, we've seen an impact on particularly property crime, a lot of theft, burglary, retail theft, even just simple break-ins where maybe the suspect hasn't found anything they want to steal, but has gained entry into somebody's building or shed. We're dealing with that on a daily basis, and one of the remarks from my patrolman the other day was in 27 years that he's been a law enforcement officer, he's never taken so many bicycle theft reports in his career. So the crime trends are definitely up, and it's something that we expected. So it came true.
Yeah, sad but true. And I saw, let me see if I can pull the quote up here real quick. I saw where, let me see if I can find it here. More people released, in other words, not having to go, be detained versus posting bail. More people released also means an opportunity for those out on pretrial release to commit more crimes. However, proponents of the Safety Act say that it could also mean fewer later reoffenses because folks who can't post bail and have to go, spend time in jail might lose jobs, lose income, housing, etc. Cash bail was intended, according to this article from IllinoisPolicy.org, cash bail was intended to ensure defendants appeared for court, not to prevent defendants from committing more crimes. And I believe it was that same article, or it might have been one in the Chicago Tribune, where they said that the impact of according to the first year, the impact of the Safety Act in terms of people just skipping out and not showing up for their court date has overall been about a 5% increase. It hasn't been, double-digit increase, and it hasn't decreased either. So, make of that information what you will, I guess.
Right. I think it's going to differ in every community. It's going to differ also in what types of crimes we're talking about. crimes against persons versus crimes against property, and crimes against society, like drug possession or something like that. So I don't have any opinion on that statistic, whether it's accurate or not, but I think you have to look at it and break it down by what type of crime it is and the community in which it's occurring.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And I didn't realize this until I was researching. I didn't realize, the terms are used interchangeably quite a bit as far as burglary and theft, and there's a third one, which I'm forgetting now.
Larceny. Larceny is kind of a broad term for any type of theft.
And I didn't realize that depending on which of those a person is charged with, that can impact, according to the Safety Act, what is a detainable offense versus what is not.
Absolutely.
So I'm assuming from the law enforcement side of things, you're even more vigilant, not that you weren't before, but more vigilant about making sure you have all your ducks in a row and cross all your T's and dot your I's as far as evidence and interviewing witnesses and the other things you do in making a case.
Right. In making one of those cases, we also have to consider the reduced amount of time we have for speedy trial, and the requirement that we offer all the information that we have as discovery to the defendant at the time of his first appearance.
Oh, wow.
So that makes it very difficult, because a lot of times cases are complicated, and those complex cases, we may need to go interview many people, mm-hmm. or review a lot of video evidence, things that take a lot of time,
sure.
and then prepare the reports about what we've done or what evidence we've collected, and have that ready to go, maybe even the next morning. Mm-hmm. So it's nearly impossible to get all of that done in the amount of time that we're given.
Sure, absolutely. Once again, our guest is Police Chief Joe Meister, Police Chief of City of Lincoln. 217-648-5510 if you have questions of Chief Meister, or questions about the Safety Act. I mean, he's not an attorney and he doesn't play one on TV, but he's certainly more well versed in that area than you'd get if you asked me. So I noticed on the City Council, the City of Lincoln Facebook page, some of the videos of, I believe it was the Council of the Whole meeting, where there were a few citizens who showed up and voiced not displeasure with the police department, but I think it was more in the right spirit of, hey, these things are happening. What can we do? How can we fix it? And you were there at the meeting. Can you kind of tell us about some of those frustrations and what your advice was to those present?
Sure. Yeah. Actually, I was very pleased to see these citizens show up and voice their concern with the appropriate audience, and also in the respectful way they did so, and then offering their listening to my explanation. Basically, I went over some of the key points of the safety fact, like a detention hearing and how it works. We talked a lot about what the community can do to partner with not just law enforcement, but with one another to help protect their interests. And I think it was a good conversation. I think it was fruitful. We have seen since that meeting an increase in the amount of calls from neighborhood, if you would like to call them that, during the nighttime hours when they see suspicious activity and things like that, and we appreciate that. I look forward to working with the neighborhood watch groups as well, and giving them some, I don't know if you want to call it advice, but at least some groundwork on legalities pertaining to something like neighborhood watch.
Sure. Okay. Once again, our guest is Police Chief Joe Meister, City of Lincoln Police Chief. We'll go ahead and take our first break now. 217-648-5510, the number to call. If you have questions or comments or would like to discuss something, we'll be back in 2 minutes with Lincoln Police Chief Joe Meister.
Culver's is a family restaurant. To me, that means being the place that puts a smile on everyone's face. We're famous for our cooked-to-order butter burgers and frozen custard made daily inside our restaurants. But we've always believed more menu options mean more ways to brighten your day. We source the finest chicken to bring you our tenders and chicken sandwiches. And our cheese curds. They're a Wisconsin tradition we're proud to share with you. So take the next meal shift off and let us take care of you. Welcome to Delicious.
Culver's, home of the Butter Burger, 2530 Woodlawn Road in Lincoln.
Full Gospel Evangelistic Center makes an impact locally and beyond through a wide range of events, ministries, and outreaches. Pastors Steve and Debbie Owens invite you to worship Sunday mornings at 10:30 and attend Wednesday night Bible studies at 6:30. Connect with FGEC online, follow them on Facebook, download their app, and visit their new website at myfgec.org with live YouTube video streams as well as recordings of services and special events. Full Gospel Evangelistic Center, 304 North McLean Street in Lincoln. Whether you're buying or selling your home, the brokers of Me Realty will work with you to get the deal done. As one of Central Illinois' top producing offices for decades, Me Realty has the experience to guide you through the process. You want results? Call the brokers of Me Realty at 217-735-5424, stop by the office at 602 Keokuk Street in Lincoln, or check out local listings online at merealty.com.
And we are back on the 4 p.m. 411 here on WLCN 96.3 FM. Once again, our guest for this show is Police Chief Joe Meister, Police Chief of the City of Lincoln. If you have questions or comments, 217-648-5510, the number to call. Also would like to invite you to tune in to the Viewpoint program tomorrow. Host Dara Entwistle will have, I believe it is Jennifer Hayes, the coach of the powerhouse Hartsburg-Emden volleyball team, which just recently made another state appearance. So she will be here tomorrow morning. That's at 8 o'clock. But as I said, Chief Meister is here with us. So we went into the break talking about Neighborhood Watch and how you offered maybe some advice, not necessarily legal advice, but some groundwork maybe. If folks are interested in something like that, of forming a Neighborhood Watch, what is the best way to go about doing that?
Well, one, obviously, you would have to have a group of folks in your neighborhood that are willing to devote some of their free time to being a watchman or watch woman, and getting used to probably meeting people in their neighborhood. That's not quite as common as before, but if you're out on a foot patrol as a watchman or a watch person, my suggestions would be to talk to as many neighbors as you can to figure out who's in your neighborhood. Because, and I mentioned this in the meeting, if you know who should be in your neighborhood, and you know who shouldn't be in your neighborhood.
Right. So. And then I'm assuming, I don't know a whole lot about it other than I've seen the signs around before. Is there any sort of there's probably not any sort of I want to say like a training or a workshop or anything that's offered that if you're starting a Neighborhood Watch program, you can send some people to this and learn more? So
the man who came in, the citizen who came in to speak at the council meeting, he brought up the Neighborhood Watch program. And afterwards, I spoke with one of the aldermen that's been in communication with him as well and offered for me to come to one of their Neighborhood Watch meetings and again, to lay some groundwork, maybe some best practices. Right. Just keep those people who are trying to help us out there, keep them safe and make sure that they don't go down the wrong path with their program. Right,
and I believe you mentioned that in the meeting too, that don't take the law or take things in your own hands and go commit a crime while you're thinking you're stopping someone from committing a crime or whatever it is, because then that's sort of a double hammer there.
Yeah, the mayor actually was the one who offered those suggestions, but I absolutely agree with him. What I plan to share in those Neighborhood Watch meetings are some statutes like the private person's arrest authority, making a citizen's arrest, what that statute looks like, what it means to us when we read it, things like use of force. These are things that the average citizen doesn't have a ton of training in, so right. I want to make sure to highlight for those people to understand.
Sure. And speaking of ways to deter crime, or hopefully send the trend in a downward direction, talked about the Crime Stoppers program as well. And I apologize, I saw the post on our Facebook page that said I was trying to get the Crime Stoppers program going. In no way was that It's not like I'm the Lone Ranger trying to get it going. I know the Crime Stoppers has in fact been around. It's just because of funding and officers being stretched in several directions, it just hasn't got as much traction maybe as it has in years past. So how can Crime Stoppers be utilized as another tool to kind of help prevent or deter crime?
All right. Well, I had a meeting with some of the board members last week on Friday. We discussed maybe some extra advertising that the police department will help them with to try to replace some of the funds that they don't get anymore from the court system.
And just real quick, when you say you met with the board, you mean the Crime Stoppers board, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
To clarify, a couple of members of the Crime Stoppers board. Crime Stoppers was, I think we had one of the first standalone Crime Stoppers in Lincoln, Logan County, is what I heard from those board members. And it used to do very well with the court fines assessed to Crime Stoppers, but changes in legislation have changed that, and they don't see those funds anymore. So we're going to try to help them out with some advertising. And as you and I spoke, I think doing a crime of the week, the Crime Stoppers is very interested in that. I think it'll be very beneficial. It'll also help get information out to the community, sharing what's going on.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and of course, we've talked about it, and I've spoken with Corporal Clements about it. So wheels are in motion, so things are happening, although you may not see it yet. Another thing that has happened is I saw you posted I can't remember if it was a press release or something on social media that you released about use of home video, like Ring doorbells and the like. Can you kind of talk about how that can factor into what you go through as a law enforcement person and how it might help?
Sure. We've had a lot of success with using home videos, Ring doorbell cameras, other outside surveillance cameras, in investigating crimes such as burglary and theft, or even if the video isn't of a burglary or theft, it may be of someone involved in that type of thing. So we've had a lot of success using that evidence in those type of cases. And recently, I started the security camera registration program, which helps us with just knowing where they're at in town and having contact information for the owner of the camera immediately accessible to investigators, so we don't have to knock on doors until we finally catch somebody when they're home.
Right. And I thought we had a caller, but it was a salesperson, unfortunately. As far as the use of the camera footage goes, it is just, as you strictly said there, you're looking at the footage, seeing if there's something useful. It's not like you're going to be logged into their internet access or get any passwords or anything like that. It's just strictly looking at footage, and if something's there, getting a copy of it to use in your investigative process.
Right. Yeah. I tried to make that very clear. There'd be no invasion of privacy whatsoever. The owner of the camera would make the decision whether or not he or she would want that footage turned over to the police. The only way we could take it without consent of the owner is with a search warrant, just like any other property. Okay.
Once again, our guest is Police Chief Joe Meister of the City of Lincoln. 217-648-5510, the number to call if you have questions of Chief Meister. We are at our second break here, so we'll go ahead and take that and be back in 2 minutes with more with Lincoln Police Chief Joe Meister.
Are you sick and tired of the telephone calls, text messages, and ads in the mail for Medicare open enrollment? Medicare open enrollment begins October 15th and ends December 7th. Changes made during this time will go into effect January 1, 2025. Feel free to call me, local Medicare agent Darrett Entwistle, and set an appointment to go over 2025 changes and plans. My office is in downtown Lincoln, or I can meet with you at your home if you like. Again, call me, Darrett Entwistle, your local Medicare agent and your friend in health insurance, 217-651-8046.
Hello, Lincoln and Logan County. This is Chris Grau from Grau Chevrolet Buick in Lincoln. When it comes time to choose someone to repair your car, truck, or SUV, Don't you think you'd feel more comfortable working with the local people you know and trust? Our team in Service, Parts, and Detail have the tools, training, and knowledge that will get your repairs done quickly with less downtime and at the right price. Call the local pros at 217-735-4444 at Grau Chevrolet Buick on North Kickapoo Street in Lincoln.
Hi, Joe Ryan here with Country Financial. As pensions go by the wayside and your retirement approaches, have you thought about what your retirement income will look like? No, I'm not talking about how much money you have saved. I am talking about a retirement income, a guaranteed paycheck for life. That's right, a paycheck issued to you every month for the rest of your life. Sound interesting? Let's talk. 735-4385.
And we are back on the 4 p.m. 411 here on WLCN 96.3. We have 10 minutes or so left with Lincoln Police Chief Joe Meister. 217-648-5510, the number to call if you have questions, or you can email those if you don't want to talk on the radio. 4 p.m. 411 at WLCNonline.com is the address to which you can send those questions. So we talked about some of the things that, in terms of Neighborhood Watch, Crime Stoppers, the video registration program that you initiated. Something else that I've noticed, and I'm sure if you're on social media at all, have noticed, there's an abundance of posts of pictures of an individual maybe, or sometimes they're just textual posts of, well, I just saw so-and-so at, insert address here, and now they're walking down the street with a bicycle and a wagon full of stuff, and they're taking it to this house on whatever street, and stuff's piling up there, but we can't go get it. I mean, from a law enforcement standpoint, are those posts at all useful to you when people put information out there like that, or what they propose to be information?
No, not at all. They could end up being evidence in the long run, say if one of the items the person's carrying is reported stolen and we can somehow identify it, positively identify it from the photograph.
Serial number or something like that.
Right, but what really helps us out in those circumstances, if you do see some suspicious activity in your area or activity that you think is suspicious, such as somebody hauling items with a trailer through an alley, calling us immediately instead of making that social media post immediately gives us a better chance of locating that person and maybe doing a citizen contact with them, asking them where they found this stuff or stole this stuff or whatever it may be. But the most useful thing is reporting the suspicious activity to the police, not to the Facebook or the Snapchat.
Right. And while we're sort of down this branch of things, again, I always take what I see on social media with a grain of salt, but I have seen posts of, there's, this bunch of ne'er-do-wells that are housed up at this address, and they've got all this stolen property, and we can't get it, and no one's doing anything about it. And I from your side of the desk, I assume you probably don't want to tip your hand too much, but I mean, is that sort of in the same genres of the posts of someone walking down their street, that it's not particularly useful information from a law enforcement or being able to do anything from your side of the process? In most cases, no, it's not. We need specific information in order to apply for a search warrant. In the case where we have had several places that we've searched with a warrant and retrieved stolen property, but in those cases we have to swear to an affidavit before a judge saying we have this information, this is how we got it, and develop probable cause for the issuance of that warrant to search. Usually social media posts won't reach that threshold of probable cause. One of the things that we face most often is that, if a person is a victim of a burglary, they haven't recorded things like serial numbers on their tools or their television or whatever it may be that has been stolen. Mm-hmm. Without that information, it's very hard for us to prove that, that television
television is Loyd stolen television.
Right, yeah. So, which kind of leads into the next question that I had for you. From a citizen standpoint, other than calling in, if you see something, say something, sort of a situation, what sort of things can folks do to protect themselves or to try and help make things safer in their neighborhood?
Right. I support the neighborhood watch programs. I think that's a great idea, and it's also a community building idea, just aside from the protecting ourselves thing. But I've said it over and over again. I made a press release about the rise in property crimes and how to defend yourself from them. Soft targets are easy targets. So the harder you make your target, your home, your garage, your shed, your trailer, the less likely you'll be to be victimized. So things like motion lighting, the cameras, again, that always comes up, and then strong locks, even secondary locks. I know people with 2 locks on their trailer instead of 1. And security locks. Your normal padlock can be cut off with a bolt cutter in seconds. Right. So again, the harder you make the target, the less likely it is that you'll be victimized.
So again, simple things like locking your car, not leaving valuables in your car. If you do, don't leave them sitting on the front seat or whatever. Again, sort of things. I mean, I grew up in the big city of Waynesville with a population of 500, so everyone knew everyone, and everyone's doors were unlocked and cars were unlocked, and what's the joke? No one used their turn signals because everyone knew where everyone else was going anyway. So, times have definitely changed. Now, when was it you took the office of chief?
January 1st, 2023 at 12:01 a.m.
And so how's it been?
It's been interesting. It's been interesting. There are plenty of challenges. I'm proud to say that I think the Lincoln Police Department is moving forward and doing a good job. Social media always doesn't report that, but when we look at the truth of the matter, at statistics, it is. So I'm proud to say that, and I'm also proud to say that we're getting back to a better staffing situation so we can better serve the community. We're looking at hiring our last 2 vacancies here next month. So once they get out of the academy and go through their training programs, we should be fully staffed on patrol, and that's very exciting. And it'll give some of the guys who've been working a lot of overtime a break, so they're excited too.
And have any idea when it was the last time your department was fully staffed?
About 5 years ago.
Oh, wow.
Well, 2020, but it wasn't quite fully staffed for the whole year. So,
but still moving in the positive direction. We talked about all the negative and the crime and the Safety Act and so forth. What in your time as chief, what sort of positive things, has there been certain incidents or certain situations that have kind of remind you, this is why I signed up for this, as opposed to all the bad Facebook posts and corrupt cops and all the...
It's easy to talk about that and those voices on social media that are negative or loud, usually with very limited facts. Some of the things that I've found satisfying in my job, and I know that all the other officers would echo this, is the amount of people that support the police in Lincoln. That's a way greater number than the amount that ridicule us, and I can understand some people's frustration with arresting the same suspect for the same crimes over and over again and not seeing them detained. But as I said in the council meeting the other night, that finger of blame shouldn't be pointed at the police department or the city government. It goes much higher than that. So the positives are, every time we get a note in the mail saying, hey, your officer did a great job. Every time we get a handshake thanking us for being out there. That's what makes the world go around for us.
All right, very good. So it is 4:30. So Chief Meister, thank you for joining us, and we'll talk again soon, and hopefully things will continue on a positive upward trend.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Sure
again,
thing.
Lloyd.
So once again, this has been the 4 p.m. 411. We invite you to tune in to Viewpoint tomorrow with Dara Entwistle. She will have Hartsburg-Emden volleyball coach Jennifer Hayes as her guest. That's at 8 a.m. tomorrow. And I will be back next week with the 4 p.m. 411. Thanks for listening and watching.
This live video stream is made possible in part by WLCN's live stream technology sponsor, Me Realty, located at 602 Keokuk Street in Lincoln, and online at merealty.com. The preceding program is a presentation of WLCN 96.3 FM and WLCNonline.com.